Tell me about that conversation.
Him and I talked about Donna started falling backwards in April. There was a few things in before April that there was issues. I'd give her notice, she'd take care of it. Her dad and I were talking about some
Issues,
of her...
you mean in the house?
Yes.
Like?
There was some suspected drug use. There was other people in the house that shouldn't have been there. There was damages that were being seen, and I wrote her notice and said, it's got to stop. When we decided to go ahead, because we were actually working on moving them out when my daughter informed me that she had got Section 8. So when I learned that she had Section 8, I talked to the property owner and I said, what do you
You're
think?
the property manager.
Yes.
I want to know what the conversation was with the guarantor on the rent. I am assuming that, for the purpose of this proceeding, that Miss Johnson was not in a position to pay rent.
Correct.
Don't put your hand up. Was not in a position to pay rent in June.
Correct.
So you had other issues with Mr. Talley's daughter.
Correct.
Which I understand, Mr. Talley. I want you to know that I do understand that.
Yes, ma'am.
I would hope that you understand that too, because you have grandchildren.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And are keeping an eye on it.
Yes, ma'am.
Or at least trying to.
Try to. I signed it.
I don't want to hear that you were forced by this lady to sign a guarantee of the rent. Did you sign it?
Yes, ma'am.
That's all. So at some point, you and the plaintiff had a conversation about what was going on in the house and the rent.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you remember when that conversation took place?
Not really. I remember signing the papers at her house.
No, I'm talking about a conversation that she had with you about people that she was unfamiliar with coming in and out of the house and some damages that were visible.
Yes, ma'am.
You remember that?
Yes.
And that was in May of this year?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you tell her, the plaintiff, that you were going to pay June's rent?
No, I signed a paper saying I would.
Well, when she
You
said,
needed to.
I'm sure that issue came up.
Yes.
We were
And
not going
what-
to pay rent in June. So we had to be out by May 31st.
Or be a squatter from June to October.
No.
Been doing this a very long time. Did you tell the plaintiff that you would pay the rent in June?
No.
When she asked you about June's rent, do you remember what your response to her was?
Well, she told me that the owner of the property said come out, go after her dad.
And
And that's what she told me.
she said, because you've known her a long time, the owner of the property, I'm the manager of the property, my boss said to me, go after her dad, he's the guarantor.
Yes, ma'am.
And what did you say to her? Did you say to her, good luck with that?
Yes, I did.
Okay, so that at that point in May, the plaintiff had information from both the primary tenant and the guarantor, that would be
ma'am.
you, that there was going to be no rent paid in June.
Yes.
Right. And that what was clearly going to happen was that they were going to have to start eviction proceedings, which would have lasted a whole bunch of time. And during that time, your daughter and her 3 children would remain in the house, which is what happens in any event. You want prorated rent for the 9 days in June.
Correct.
There's 8 days.
I would let it go. They were tenants for 3 years. It sounds like a very unfortunate situation. And it seems like that they have enough trouble. I'm not dealing with 9 days prorated rent. But you say that when they left, without paying rent, June 1st, by the way, correct?
Yes.
So the boyfriend didn't come through, the ex-boyfriend didn't come through, and the guarantor said, I'm not coming through, so June's rent wasn't paid.